All right, people. I'll try to make this one fast too. It never is. Uh, People, from so many years back, um, I've always wondered about one thing that I see that's in architectural America, I guess you should say. Uh, you know, if any of you have studied, I'm sure quite a few of you have studied, how the Earth is actually shaped, or what have you, or where we really are, or some have even dove into esoterica and gematria, numerology, and astrology, and astronomy, and alchemy, and even or sexual alchemy, or whatever, whatever be the case. And people, if you look at the architecture, not only of like Washington, D.C., but of your state capitals, most, and I'm going to say most, all of them usually they usually use some kind of white stone. They're almost always, in addition to the friezes and the pediments and the type of, ionic columns that they use, they're almost always topped with a dome, with many columns above that, with another dome, with many columns above that, with a dome, whatever. All that should tell you something about where you are. That's all I can really say on that, I guess. But anyway, with most of them, and it's not just them, there's several structures all over the world. If you notice at the top of them, and some of them are just statues on their own, but they're blue, they're aqua, teal blue, and it's just in all that really basically is weathering on statues or what have you that have been comprised of copper. Now, I think a couple of segments ago I mentioned that I'd seen the movie Pixels with Adam Sandler and Michelle Monaghan and some other people. Well, they're right in the center of a scene. They don't just shoot these scenes at random. I mean, they have to make sure they follow a certain, however you want to look at it, cult-like or esoteric-like agenda to the movie shooting, to the script, where certain shots have to be taken. And one of those shots, besides all the other subliminal ones in that movie, one of them was, which is kind of why I'm doing this now, because I've had this material forever, and I figured I might as well just get it out now. The top of the U.S. Capitol building, which apparently is, I've heard several things, but the one I've heard most is Columbia. But nevertheless, that one for some reason is, I know it's conductive. I'm just not quite sure if it's 100% copper or whatever, but you can usually tell the ones that are 100% copper because they've turned blue already. And if, in case you're wondering, yes, that does include the Statue of Liberty. And that's not, oh, I have to say this, seemingly, seemingly, okay, that's out of the way. The Statue of Liberty, well, that's not what you think it is either. Or whom, possibly. But the color is indisputable. The shot, if I saw the right image, the shot that they never show are the chains at the feet. I'll let you just run with that, because that's not what this is about. So when you look around, not only around the country, it's around the world, you see these buildings with, I call them copper tops, topped in these copper type statues. Now, so a few years ago, maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I should say. No, it was more than that. I guess it was maybe 9 or 10 years ago. It was about 10 years ago now, I guess. I just kind of wondered, and I was just kind of half kidding myself and say, that would be a kick, if all, because understanding electrical circuitry, anyone who does the, just basic electrical circuitry, and I'm not, you don't have to know, anything about, bridge rectifiers or capacitors or transformers or whatever, just, what completes a circuit and what doesn't and all that stuff. Imagine the power if everything was connected and was either drawing in and storing, or let's take the current and go the other way, or could put out something at the same time. What would either one of those scenarios do? And then the only thing the big question that immediately came to mind was, are these things connected to something? Like all of them, at least via each continent or each, hemisphere or what have you. And I'm not talking north and south, I'm talking east and west. I mean, anyway, that's the only other question that can come to mind. Are they connected to something? If not within the building that they're housed in and or on, are they connected? Are they all connected in some kind of, sequence or series or what have you, or in parallel or what have you, to use an electrical term, with each other? And that's including not just the top of, a good example is like I think there's the Capitol building in Detroit. There's multiple statues on that. If you look at it, I mean, it usually goes, around the four corners. I mean, you have to kind of know flat earth theory to understand this, but, it's got like you'll see the four corners and goes up the dome and then goes, up to the upper levels of, where, to a single point. And I'm like, it literally looks like one big, huge, power machine, Now watch, the shills are going to run nuts with this. Watch this. I am waiting for this. Watch the shills run nuts with this. Because as of right now, I don't see anything. Because for starters, I just wanted to know more myself. But that's the only reason why I'm mentioning this now. As I had mentioned before, I try to put out things on an original basis, but I'm just waiting for one particular individual to put this on. And I'm not going to respond online either. Anyway. So just think about it. I know you've noticed, there's many things to think about when you think about those things. Statue of Liberty, And let me tell you about that flame. Somebody told me that the flame was recently, and it was. I mean, if you look at it, it's different, but there's that particular shape of the flame is different than the one that was originally on there. And, well, I'll just let you research that. For the advanced people, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it, doesn't just represent a flame. If you really look at I'm talking about the new one. But and it's just it's just so disappointing. But anyway, getting back to the power side of it, I mean, that's just awesome. So not too long ago, about I'd say maybe a couple months ago, they had run a movie on TV, and I think it was one of the first Transformers, or one of those first one or two movies or whatever. The guy that acts on Grey's Anatomy, I think it's Patrick somebody, I don't know, I can't remember right now, but he played the bad guy. But lo and behold, I think it took place in Chicago, I think. But here is this massive power from these, those were deluxe dome columns, is what I call them, because they have like what the Capitol buildings usually have on them, and then all the way up with the columns to a small dome, to the smaller dome, and then they have the thing on top, and then those actually made up one of each of the four corners. And then you have the master one, which made five. But and sure enough, here goes this powered up grid kind of thing with whatever they were using. I don't know, I didn't really catch all of it, but and it had to do with exactly what I had thought. I don't want to get into real world or like off world stuff here, but I mean, I'm like, really? And see, people, the way it usually works with them is they'll see something and then they'll try to make something of it, and a lot of them do it just for YouTube views. Let me tell you, I don't monetize these segments, and I don't even the channel's not monetized or anything. So it's just, and that's just to show good faith, and not to say that I don't need it, but it's just to show the fact that whenever I do it and whatever I do, it's just at the end of the day, I really want to see this place around for for generations to come, and for them so they can enjoy it like we did. That's all. But anyway, just something for you to think about. I call them Coppertops, but just think about it, because that could be one very big, sleeping, huge monster, people. It might not be nothing, but it could be something else. And I'm surprised that I haven't seen any more talk on it. That those things could be wired up to a power that we've never ever even known or seen before. So anyway, with that, I'll leave you with that. I love each and every one of you. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.